Infinity Pool is strange, in a good way. Mia Goth and Alexander Skarsgård shine in this movie, which is to be expected. After Pearl and X, I've become a Mia Goth stan, so any movie she is in I feel obligated to watch, and I'm glad that I did. This movie is wild. It's a breath of fresh air in the movie realm, especially the sci-fi and horror aspects of it. The idea that you can do basically whatever you want and have no real world repercussions is honestly scary. And the idea that your clone they would make would see itself as you, so you never know if they got the right one is terrifying. Along with the presence of psychedelics and sex in this movie elevated, it goes to show that these people are actually crazy, especially in the third act when they chase Alexander's character James through the forest to a house where he thinks he is safe. It's crazy. Mia Goth's character Gabby turns halfway through the movie. At first we're led to believe that she is a large fan of James, loving his first and only book he released 6 years ago. But we then later learn that she completely lied. She never read his book, she barely knows who he is. They picked him out as their play toy to mess with and have fun with this trip. And we see at the end when they leave the island that they are just regular people. They have jobs, they have friends, they all act like nothing at all happened at the resort. James is on the bus, but we also see that he stayed at the resort. This leads me to believe one of two things. Either James did in fact leave the island, he is on his way back to his wife and is gonna go back to his regular life, struggling to write his second book, still pretending like nothing happened. Or he couldn't do that. After all he went through, he couldn't just leave like everyone else and pretend that nothing happened. Something that his wife, Em, actually brought up earlier in the movie. After his first clone had been killed, she said,
"It's really so disgusting that you could just sit there and watch it happen."
That may have resonated with him, especially after all that happens in the third act, causing him to decide to send a clone home and sit with himself staying at the resort, possibly thinking he doesn't deserve to go back home. It's almost reverse character growth for James. He starts the movie as someone coming to the resort to gain inspiration, then once approached by someone who claims to love his book, he becomes very self-centered and wants to hang out around his mega fans. Then he gets led down this path of beating and breaking into places, doing heavy psychedelics, and then finally doing a huge orgy with these people he honestly doesn't know very well. All of these sexual acts he does, he is aware he is cheating on his wife, but he doesn't seem to really care. He is engulfed by the fact that these people love him and he thinks himself as a sort of royalty around them, which we can see until it's shown that he is some nobody they chose to toy and play with. It's pretty literal when he is acting like an animal being walked by everyone, until he runs away like a scared dog, then is brought out on a leash, literally acting as an animal. Cinematography in Infinity Pool is outstanding. The shots are so beautiful, or when they want to be, terrifying. The performances given by everyone helped make the movie what it is as well. All of the actors trusted the idea and plot of the movie, because without that I don't think it would have worked nearly as well. Mia Goth especially though, they played this insane two-faced character with such gusto. My favorite part is when she's just yelling at James to come off the bus.
What are you doing in there, James? Huh? Where do you think you're going, you little baby?
This was my first Brandon Cronenberg movie, but knowing his father David Cronenberg's work, I knew this movie would likely be wild. People complained about the movie, saying they had little to no idea what they were watching, and that you were just kind of watching something, there wasn't much of a story. I heavily disagree. I feel the story, although out there, is pretty straightforward. You follow James, a struggling writer who gets pulled down a dark path by the people around him, then eventually changes because of it. As I sort of mentioned, this movie has been hit or miss for people, but it definitely hit for me. If you have a different opinion, that's fine, and honestly I understand not loving this movie. It's very weird, but let me know what you think. Agree? Disagree? Who knows?